guys, it's Alicia and my daughter Alyssa again. We are back to do some more baking. This time it is for her 18th birthday.
Woohoo, I'm old now.
Yeah, she does. Tell me in the comments if she looks like she's 18, because to me she looks like she's much younger than that. But anyway, she's turning the big 1-8, and I asked her what kind of cake she wanted, and what did you say?
I said I wanted a cheesecake.
Yep, so it has been, I would say, several years since I've made a cheesecake, so I'm a little bit nervous about this, to be completely honest. And she wants a peanut butter cheesecake, correct? Mm-hmm. Because she loves peanut butter, and that is something I have never made. So for this one, I went on Pinterest to see what I could find. I found a recipe that I'm gonna follow for the most part, and I will have that link down below. And so we're gonna just jump in here and kind of see how this goes. Like I said, it's been years since I've made a cheesecake, and cheesecakes kind of always intimidate me a little bit, mainly because of the water bath factor in it. Actually, cheesecakes in and of themselves are pretty easy as far as ingredients. They're very simple, but the water bath thing always kind of scares me a little bit. So I will jump in here and show you.
I believe in you with my adult powers.
Yes, I'm glad you believe in me, because I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. I did think it was cool she wanted a cheesecake though, because that was always what I wanted. When I was a little bit older, my mom always made me this strawberry cake that was, she turned into a bunny because my birthday's in spring.
And then she started doing that for me up until like 11 or 12.
Yeah, because your birthday's in spring. I will link that cake recipe. Oh, it is so delicious.
It's really
the
good.
Strawberry cake. I did it.
You did the Valentine's Day
yes,
cake with
I did it into a heart shape. But anyway, I will link that above. But I was excited she wanted a cheesecake, because that's what I always wanted when I was a little bit older too. Okay, so what you're gonna need to make this is, first off, you're gonna need some peanut butter, being that this is a peanut butter cheesecake. You're also gonna need 4 bricks of room temperature cream cheese. These are 8-ounce bricks, so you need 4 of those. Then you also want your eggs, which you'll need 4, at room temperature. I don't know if the recipe I'm following says that, but usually you wanna have your eggs at room temperature for a cheesecake too. Then you are gonna have 1 1/3 cup granulated sugar, and then some whipping cream. And then the recipe I'm following calls for chocolate chips inside of it. I thought that was too boring, so I'm gonna put the Reese's not only on top, but in the cheesecake batter too. I thought that sounded better than just plain old chocolate chips. Okay, so that is all you're gonna need for the cheesecake itself. Pretty simple. And then for the crust, you're gonna need 2 cups of crushed Oreos. I'm not sure exactly how many Oreos 2 cups is gonna be, but we're gonna try to figure that out.
Experiment.
Yes. So it calls for 2 cups of crushed Oreos, and then 4 tablespoons of melted butter. And that's all you need for the crust. And then on top, there's going to be a ganache along with the Reese's cups. And so for the ganache is super simple. It is just chocolate chips and more heavy whipping cream. So that is all you're gonna need to make this. You're also gonna need a springform pan. Yeah, that's it. So let's get started. So first things first, and that is to get your springform pan ready to go. And so what you're gonna do with that is you want to put a piece of parchment in the bottom of it, and then you need to prep it for the water bath. And the water bath is what makes me the most nervous, like I said, about making a cheesecake, because it can go wrong, basically. So you don't have to do a water bath, I should say, if you really don't want to. So the thing about a water bath is, the reason you do it basically is, this is a custard, really. And like custards, or it's basically a custard, I should say. And so that being the case, it's definitely a delicate thing to bake, and it just does a whole lot better with that moisture in there. And the water bath basically cooks it more evenly. It keeps it at a lower temperature, despite what the temperature is in the oven. And that just creates a better product basically in the end. If you don't do a water bath, what you're gonna end up with possibly is kind of a rubbery texture, not that nice creamy texture that we think of with cheesecake. It can get dried out, it can sink, it can crack, stuff like that. So it definitely produces a much better product doing it with the water bath, but then you do run into the risk of having it leak, which is what I'm always afraid of. So I'm gonna show you how I do it. Basically, you're gonna need some foil, and you want kind of this big foil because you want it to be able to go all around the pan here. So I'm gonna start out with a piece of foil, set my pan in the middle of it, and then I'm kind of just going to pull up this foil tightly against the side. And again, I am not good at this. It's not something I do a whole lot. And because I'm paranoid about this, I'm going to do it again. Because who wants a soggy cheesecake? I know I don't. And that's the risk that you run doing this water bath. Now I have seen other ways of doing it where you can put this pan inside of a larger pan and then put that pan in the water bath, and I really like the idea of that. And I would have done that if I had a like a larger cake pan basically. I think this is 9.5 inch springform, so if you had like a 10, 11 that this could fit in, you could just put this in that cake pan, and then like I said, put the cake pan in your water bath, and then you're not gonna run the risk of having this foil leak. So, and to me this just doesn't look good. But anyway, we're gonna go with the water bath. So, now that I've got this kind of prepped, and again, this does not look the best, but this is just how I'm doing it. I'm gonna set this aside. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the crust, and I'm gonna use a food processor for that because I just want it to be easier. You can, if you don't have a food processor, just take these and put them in like a Ziploc bag and take a rolling pin and break them up that way. And I do that a lot of the times, but today I just figured I would get out the food processor and do it that way. So like I said, the recipe calls for 2 cups of Oreos, well, Oreo crumbs. Again, I don't know what that's gonna be. So I'm gonna start out with a sleeve and see what that looks like. So I'm not sure eyeballing that, how much that is. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just throw in another half a sleeve. 18 cookies, ground up. Got those nice and ground up. Now I'm gonna take my butter and I'm gonna dump that in there and blend that up. And that'll actually tell me if the consistency is right for the crust. And that looks pretty good. See that? So I'm gonna call that good. So I'm now gonna take this out of here, and I'm gonna take my pan here, and I'm gonna just dump this in here. How good does this crust smell? Just all by itself.
I think
it's like pouring it everywhere.
I think we really should just make some cookies and dump some butter in them and grind them up and just eat it like that.
I love, yeah, I could see doing that. I love Oreo crust. Oh my gosh. It's probably, traditionally cheesecake is a graham cracker crust, but I definitely like to use Oreo. If it's something chocolate, or you know, just if it pairs well with the cheesecake flavor that you're doing. So I'm just pressing this in here. And you can go up the side a little bit. I'm not going to. I'm just gonna press it into the bottom. All the way around. I did Oreo cheesecake one time that is probably the best cheesecake I've ever made. Oh my gosh, so good. But it has been years, like I said, since I've done a cheesecake, so I'm a little nervous. Okay, so here is what that looks like. Now we're gonna just take this and set this aside while we do our filling. And I've got my oven preheating at 350. So first thing is the cream cheese. And like I said, it is 4 8-ounce bricks or 32 ounces of cream cheese. And again, you want these room temperature because they're gonna just blend up a whole lot easier than if they're cold. Let's go ahead and open. And I should point out that she wanted to help with this.
Yeah.
I actually kind of felt bad that
She didn't enslave me to make my cake.
no, she wanted to help me do her cake. So I was like, well, it's your birthday cake. You don't want to actually help make your own birthday cake, but she's getting into this cooking thing.
It's a fascinating process.
So now we're gonna take our sugar, pour that in there. You don't need the knife, actually. And then we're gonna just cream the two of these together real well. Okay, that is nice and creamed together. And I did have to knock this down once because there's a lot of cream cheese in here. Okay, so now that we got that, we are going to add in a 1/3 cup of heavy whipping cream.
It gets better and better.
It
the
does.
more she goes along.
Sugar, cream cheese, heavy whipping cream. Oh, okay. So a 1/3 cup of the heavy whipping cream I'm gonna put in here. Oops. And then
The wonderful, famous, what this is named for, peanut butter.
a cup of peanut butter. Now, I am gonna say, I'm not the biggest peanut butter fan. I like it, but
she can't claim my level of obsession.
no, and when I always asked my mom to make me cheesecakes, when I was, I don't know, probably 12 and up, that's always what I asked for was cheesecake. I always ask her to just do like the traditional New York style. So just plain old cheesecake.
It's all good. All of it. If it's cheesecake, it's good.
And I think I always preferred the cherries on top.
Oh,
so
yeah.
cherry cheesecake. Oh my gosh, that's what I always liked when I was a kid. Now, that being said, I'm sure this is gonna be amazing too. Okay, and then I'm gonna add in a little vanilla. It says 2 teaspoons. So I'm gonna put roughly that in there. Maybe a little more. I always go heavy on the vanilla. And then we're gonna just mix this together. Okay, we've got that all nice and mixed together and it does smell amazing.
Gosh, it's like I died and I went to heaven on my 18th birthday.
Okay, so now I'm gonna start putting these eggs in, but I'm gonna have my daughter start unwrapping these Reese's so that we can chop those up and add those in there too. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add in 1 egg at a time. And what you wanna do is just add this egg in and slowly start mixing it. And you want to mix that until you don't see the egg anymore and then move on to adding the next one. So now I'm gonna take these Reese's and then I'm gonna just rough chop these.
That's really satisfying watching you cut them in half.
Is it?
Yeah. You guys, should she do satisfying videos?
Satisfying, yes. What's a satisfying?
Like there's videos where people will cut.
Oh, are you
things in
talking
half.
like ASMR?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Nope. Not in my future. So you can just chop these to whatever size you want. I'm gonna kind of make them a little bit smaller, I think, than what I'm gonna do for the top.
Yeah, because you don't want like giant chunks.
Yeah, because you don't want huge giant, I don't know, I mean, maybe if you do, leave them bigger. But
I like them smaller.
I think they'll be better, a little bit smaller in the batter. Okay, so that's what I've got chopped up, and I'm gonna just put these in my batter, and I'm gonna just fold those in. Okay, so that's what that looks like, and I think that looks good. I think there's enough pieces in there. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this and we're gonna pour it in our pan here on top of our crust. And my daughter is off screen right now licking the paddle.
Nobody needs to see that.
Which, you know, I always did that as a kid. How many of you guys did that? Ate the raw batter, so to speak, I guess is what it is. It's raw batter. How many of you guys did that? Ate the raw batter back in the day. Now you're not supposed to do that because it has egg in it, but that never stops me. I still do.
Never stops me either. I'm still here.
Hopefully she doesn't get sick for her birthday, which is tomorrow actually. Okay, so I'm gonna just take this now and I'm gonna spread it in here and kind of try to smooth that top the best I can. That is what that looks like. Now, I've got to get my water bath ready. For a water bath, you would traditionally use like a roaster pan or something. I actually don't have one of those. I was kind of surprised. The ones I have are not going to be deep enough for a water bath. So what I'm going to be using is this big old cast iron skillet, which looks very, very rough. I actually tried to season this and made it way worse than what it originally looked like. This is my grandma's skillet. She gave this to me right before she passed away, and so it's very special to me, and I need to figure out how to get this seasoned so that I can use it. But it's definitely in rough shape right now. But it's gonna work for a water bath. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna set it in there. And then I'm gonna heat up some water. Easy way to do this is to just put it in a tea kettle, which is actually what I'm gonna do. And I should have already done that, but I'm gonna put some water in a tea kettle and get that heated up, and then I'm gonna pour that water in here. Okay, so I actually went back and put a towel in this and then set that on top of the towel, and that's just gonna help this from sliding around and kind of sloshing water everywhere. So I've got some hot water in my tea kettle here, and I'm gonna just pour this in until that water gets up, preferably half of the way up the cheesecake pan. So now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put this in my preheated oven at 350, and I'm gonna bake it for, it says I think 55 to 70 minutes. I'm gonna check it around the 55-minute mark and see how it's looking. Basically, with a cheesecake, you wanna cook it until the outside is kind of set, but the inside is still a little jiggly, because otherwise you're gonna end up overcooking it, because once this comes out, it kind of continues to cook itself, and then that jiggly center will eventually cook and then be done kind of perfectly. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick this in the oven, and I will be back when it is done. Okay guys, I cooked this for just about 65 minutes, and I'll show you if you can see. There's a slight jiggle in the center, which is what you're looking for. You want kind of just this very center to have just the slightest little jiggle and kind of be set on the outside. And then that will just tell you that this is done. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this out of this water bath, and it looks like it hopefully made it through the water bath unscathed. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put it on this rack, and I'm gonna just let it cool. Okay, I've let this sit a good, I'd say hour and a half or so, and it has cooled down quite a bit. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off the foil, and then I'm gonna take a piece of plastic wrap, and I'm gonna just cover this, and then I'm gonna stick it in the fridge overnight. You want to refrigerate a cheesecake bars, anything like that, for a good 4 to 5 hours, I would say minimally. I like to do mine overnight, give them a good 12 hours or so, until I actually cut into them. And that just gives them a really nice chance to completely set up. And I've also found that cheesecake is one of those things that when it sits in the fridge for 12 hours, 24 hours, something like that, it just tastes better too. So I always let mine sit overnight, and that's what I'm gonna do with this. So I am gonna stick this in the fridge, and then I will be back in the morning to finish it. Okay guys, it is the next morning, and also this chick's here birthday, so happy birthday. So we are gonna go ahead and do the ganache up for this cheesecake. And all that is just 3/4 cup whipping cream and then some chocolate chips. Now I am not following the recipe for the ganache on the recipe that I'm linking down below for this cheesecake because I think those proportions are not right. So I'm gonna use the proportions that we use when we do a ganache, and that's, like I said, 3/4 cup heavy whipping cream to a cup of chocolate chips. So we're gonna get this heating up, and you basically wanna just heat this whipping cream until it kind of starts to get a little bit frothy, and you wanna be stirring it pretty much the whole time so that you don't burn it. So I'm gonna have my daughter here stir this, keep that from burning, and then we will hopefully, and then we will be back to show you the next step. Okay, so at this point, it's starting to get frothy, so we're gonna call that good, and we're gonna take it off the heat and pour it into our chocolate chips. Okay, so I've got a cup of chips here, some minis and some regular, and I'm gonna just stir this until all those chips get melted. And we have a nice ganache. Okay guys, and that is a ganache. So what we're gonna do is set this aside and let it cool a little bit before we pour it on the cheesecake. And then while that is cooling, the ganache, we're gonna take more of these peanut butter cups and we're gonna chop them up, and I'm gonna kind of chop them in a little bigger pieces because these are gonna go on the top, and I just think kind of a bigger piece is gonna look good. So I'm not sure how many of these we're gonna use. That's what's in there. Probably at least half of those. She wants chunks, she says. So
that's why we have Bella.
This is what we have a chunk over here, yes, the dog. So this is what we're gonna throw on top. And I might change that, but that's what it's gonna look like right now. Okay, and here is the cheesecake after it has sat all night in the fridge. And I do want to point out that the bottom of this pan is super, super greasy, which is why I've got it sitting on this foil. In fact, you can see some of the grease there. It kind of leaked through when it was cooking, so super greasy. But now I'm gonna take a knife and I'm going to just kind of go around.
Oh, it smells so good.
The pan here.
As you're cutting it.
Oh, you can smell it?
The smell is coming up, yeah.
Kind of try to loosen this. I don't know how well this is gonna come out of here, to be completely honest, but we shall find out.
I don't care as long as
like I said, it has been a while since I've made a cheesecake like this. I do a lot of cheesecake bars and that kind of thing, but an actual cheesecake, it's been a while. So now we're gonna just flip this little latch here and loosen this and pray that she comes out. Okay, now we're gonna lift this up. Okay, the side there. As you can see, it did not come out the cleanest.
Oh, wow.
But that's okay because it's gonna taste amazing. I can tell by just smelling this. Okay guys, we are now gonna take the ganache here and we're gonna just pour it on the cheesecake. It has cooled enough. I probably could have let it cool a little more, but we're gonna just go with it. And we have the soothing sounds of Bella back there, if you hear that. She's cleaning up our floor. Now I'm gonna just take a spatula and kind of spread this out, and I want to get a little bit of it kind of rolling off the sides, or dripping off the sides a little bit, but not too much, so I'll just kind of let it push over. That's what we're looking like. A little messy, but that worked out pretty good. Now we're gonna take our chopped Reese's here, and I'm gonna just kind of sprinkle them on the top. So I think I'm gonna cut up just a few more Reese's into kind of small pieces. Ooh, that rhymed. And then have those sort of sprinkled on there too, just for a little more aesthetic look. So I'll do that and then I'll be back. So I've chopped up some more Reese's here. And like I said, I'm gonna just kind of sprinkle those up here just to make it have a little more dimension than just the big chunks. She wanted big chunks, but she's gonna have both. Little chunks and big chunks. And I think that just kind of gives it a nicer look, to be honest.
I like him big, I like him chunky.
Chunky. I love that song.
That's from Madagascar.
It is from Madagascar. It is always stuck in my head. I love that song. Okay. Sprinkle the rest on here. Okay, guys, and that is it. I'm gonna call that good, I think. That is our chocolate peanut butter cheesecake for my kiddo there.
And I just want to say that she worked really hard on this and she did an amazing job. So,
I think it turned out, I'm just glad the water bath worked. That's all I can really say. I'm glad that worked. Because again, cheesecake in general is not a really difficult thing to make aside from the water bath. It can be intimidating, but it's really not all that difficult other than that. So here in a second, we're gonna cut into this and show you what it looks like inside. And then I will have her take a taste of her birthday cake. Okay, so now we're gonna cut into this bad boy and let her try it. There is the piece. So that is what it looks like inside. See those nice little chunks of Reese's in there. Super
glorious.
Creamy looking. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. Okay, and I can't eat it. That's why I'm saying that. Okay, so I'm gonna take the camera, and then I'm gonna let her take a bite of that.
oh boy, I'm excited. So let's try it again.
You're gonna have to get by that chunk there.
Oh my gosh.
Is that heaven in a bite?
It is. It is so creamy and peanut buttery and cheesecakey. It's so good. And the ganache adds like that like bittersweet tang to it, I guess.
A little semi-sweet chocolate, yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's all just, it all comes together very well. Let me get some crust in there.
Oh yeah, you didn't get any crust? See what you think of the crust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Oreo.
That's great.
Success?
Yeah, very success.
Are you happy with
Yes.
your birthday cake?
Yes.
All right, good. Okay guys, that was our cheesecake, chocolate peanut butter cheesecake. Apparently it is a success. I am not gonna be eating any of this because I'm trying to be good on my diet, but I might have some on my cheat day if it lasts that long. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.